Well, Garmin started this thing and everyone seemed to join in, right?
Absolutely. It was really aggressive from the start, and then over the first two climbs, which weren't as steep as the third and fourth and fifth, we saw Sky completely obliterated. So Froome was left on this third climb with no teammates. Here he is completely surrounded. You can see him in the yellow jersey over there, riding fourth wheel in and around Quintana and Valverde of that team, with another three Spaniards behind him. Everyone's in a yellow helmet because Movistar are winning best team, so they were in yellow, and then here he is in yellow. So maybe he's trying to feel, like he's part of a gang, but completely isolated. What was interesting is that Port did lose all this time. You can see him now, he's starting to catch stragglers from that group that would have been dropped. But you can see down here there's some interesting time gaps. Now, initially, Simon Clark of Orica Green Edge had put in a brave move over that third climb just to get some points and see how he goes. Pierre Rolland's there in a second group, and there's the Maillot Jaune group, which at this point was still around 50 riders strong, but Port's a minute 25 down on his own team captain, Froome. Now, Quintana, the young Colombian, puts in a fantastic attack, but of course Froome is on everything. You can see him now having to do all the work to bridge. Interesting, there's a Saxo rider on his wheel. I imagine that's Contador.
That is Contador.
Yeah.
This is the bit that I was disappointed in. He was so isolated. Movistar had 6 or 7 guys there. Saxo Bank had their guys. I don't know, if I was there, I would have let Kreuziger off the leash and did what Quintana is doing for Valverde. They need to send someone up the road to force Froome to chase.
Absolutely.
And you guys, for those of us that aren't pro cyclists, what's the big deal about Froome being isolated, and why does he have to go after Quintana there?
Well, firstly, it's low in morale and low in strength and numbers if you're there on your own. But he has to cover everything. He has to cover everyone who's close to him on classification.
Yeah.
It's weakening for him, isn't it?
And the bottom line is, when you don't have teammates there, you got to do it yourself, and you're just firing bullets that you need for later.
Yep.
So what we did see a kilometre or so later is Daniel Martin of Team Garmin puts in a great attack, and there's no real response from the key hitters. Jakob Fuglsang chases him down, and again, no response. So these two men are both a bit lower down on general classification, not an immediate threat to Froome. And you can see they worked well together till the finish, but here's where Jakob Fuglsang, the Dane, is starting to look around saying, come on, Daniel Martin's on my wheel, what am I going to do about this? He's effectively the team leader for Astana now that has lost his Brakovic. But Daniel Martin had done great recon, and Garmin really needed a win. So he put in a pretty impressive last 500 metres, taking this sweeping left-hand corner really aggressively. I mean, he's not a big guy. He's a good climber. And there was Fuglsang in his slipstream, but he really could not get around him. So it was a big victory for Garmin.
He's quite fast, Martin, too. And these two guys, they really deserved to win the stage. They were aggressive at 35k to go, and they took their opportunity. And Garmin, they had this plan from the kick-off, so they did a really good job.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
He's got fairly handy DNA too, right?
Yeah, the nephew of Steven Roche, who won the Giro, the Vuelta and the Tour de France, I think all in 1 year, and cousin of Nicolas Roche, a French rider. So great DNA and a great team around him. Was really impressive.
Do you know what I've noticed? All the victories we've seen so far haven't been just individual brilliance, but massive team efforts to get their guy over the line eventually.
It's very reassuring. I mean, we've seen it sometimes where you have this whole group on the front like Cannondale or perhaps Sky were in stage 8, but this is much more of a tactical manoeuvre. I mean, they had Ryder Hesjedal attacking from the gun. He won the Giro d'Italia last year. I think he would have thought he was a hitter for this tour, but he's working now to facilitate a win for Dan Martin. Really great.
On those medium days when you've got strong guys like Hesjedal, Miller, Van der Velde's gone, but Talansky and this kid, they're all good riders. They're not in the classification, but they can go uphill. And then you got Saxo's the same. Movistar had 7 guys there. Yeah,
they won the day for the teams, and I guess as an indication of how poorly Sky performed, they were down about 16th.
Yeah, that's a great point, that idea of a medium day. It's not like this sensational one guy, but there were options. Fantastic.
Thank you, Doc. Well dissected.